Hello and welcome. You're viewing the Citizens Journalist podcast, Mesa County Compass, that brings you the news that you can use from a different point of view. I'm Ruth.
I'm Lisa.
And together we are Mesa County Compass. Our goal is to create an informed, current, active citizenry armed with the facts. We will be covering what's new to you, what it means to you, what you can do about it, and provide you access to the decision makers when we can. Good morning. We are here at Mesa County Compass. We are re-interviewing Mr. Stephen Varela. He is back in town making a wide sweep of all of CD3, especially on the western slope, trying to catch everyone before the actual caucus. So anyway, we need to hear from Stephen again this morning. So Stephen, just briefly give us an update as to who you are and why you're running for CD3.
Oh, of course. So thank you, Ruth. I appreciate that. And thank you, Lisa, for having me.
You're welcome.
And Mesa County Compass and Mesa County. Thank you, guys. But no, I'm really excited to jump in this race. I currently serve as your State Board of Education rep for CD3. I live in Pueblo County, but this whole district I feel like is home, especially as much as I've been traveling. So I'm just very excited to be here again and talk more about my campaign and what we're doing and how we're just kicking butt through the district and taking names.
Very good. Very good.
So a little bit of background on the fact that we have the assembly coming and then state assembly coming in a week.
Yes.
And you are not petitioning on the ballot.
No, I'm not.
And you're going to caucus, and you're going to be voted on. If you get 30%, you'll be on the primary ticket. So there have been some people saying, nope, he's not going to caucus. Why do you think that's so important to caucus as opposed to petitioning on?
Yeah, so part of a big thing for me has always been is that we give politics back to the people. And in order to do that, you show up at the caucus system. You make sure you participate and go through every county assembly if you possibly can, because everybody that shows up to those assemblies deserves a voice. And if you're going to show up and participate, you're actually giving them the voice they deserve. So for me, it's very important, especially when I came up in politics. I learned that the precinct chair was the first position you wanted to start in, and then you worked your way up and you learned about the process. So for me, it's important to participate. Now, there are some rumors out there that I'm petitioning on. I don't know why they're saying that. It's very interesting, but I am not petitioning on. I am not circulating petitions. I did not turn in petitions, and I did not have any intent to petition. So I don't know where that's coming from.
So we will be seeing you there.
You will be seeing me.
Not this Friday, today, but next Friday.
And you'll see me Saturday. I'll be at your county assembly here, Mesa County. And if you view this after the assembly, thank you.
Just visiting, trying to tell us about yourself. Okay, Ruth, what's your first question?
Okay, Stephen, I'll ask you really quickly, because you are making this huge swing through all of these counties and trying to be at the assemblies, doing that kind of thing, one after another. How many have you touched?
I think as of, well, depending on when you guys watch this, after tomorrow, it'll be how many, Bernie, altogether?
How many county assemblies?
15?
15.
15 county assemblies, which is huge because some counties don't have the assembly process. So that they're so small or they don't even have a Republican Party, which is unfortunate. But it's great to be able to reach out to all of them. And actually, I would say out of being one of the candidates that's going through the assembly process, I've only seen one of the other assembly candidates at one other assembly that I've went to and participated in. So it's really interesting. And it's important that you show up to these assemblies because sometimes that's the only opportunity that these voters get to see you and meet you and learn more about you.
And I do want to say for everybody that listens, what I have been most impressed about you is I feel like you have energized the grassroots, that you are there, that you listen, and you say, how can we together do this? So you don't feel like it's an elite person saying, okay, we have the endorsements of this person, this person, this person, this person, and so we're good. We don't need to go any further. You know, you guys just need to get in line. We've made our decision. So I appreciate that, and you give your personal phone number, and you answer everyone's phone call,
Oh.
no matter who they are.
We know that as a fact.
Yes, yes.
He has been on my radar because I've called him a few times. Lisa's called him a few times. We know of other people who
That
have
called
called
a
him
few times.
even at midnight at night, and he's answered the phone. So,
So we think that's wonderful. We do want to do just a little bit. We have a friend here that is an independent voter, and I just want to ask you from the background, when you're looking at the candidate, how do you make a decision of who you back, and what information do you try to get, and where do you get that information?
To me, I try to find the person that's going to address the issues, speak directly to the issues, try to get away from the politics, the backstabbing, all the backbiting, and address things like inflation, the border, even though this is these are important issues even here in Mesa County, all of that stuff, and the budget. And I get my sources I get my information from several sources. News, talk radio, I get quite a bit from there. I get a couple of papers. I read a lot of online conservative sites mostly, and I am conservative, so that's my point of view, and those are the issues that I want to see addressed. And as far as the accusations against people, I'd like to see you sidetrack those as much as possible and just go right to the issues and address the issues, and try to sidetrack the personal attacks as much as possible, but get to the issues.
not to play the game of politics.
Not the politics.
Mm-hmm.
Issues.
Get back to representing the people.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So I'm just asking, so when you hear something negative about a candidate, and it seems to be a serious allegation, and one of the things that Stephen explained to us earlier was that in a newspaper organization that there are six, the big six?
The big six, yes. They own a lot of the media. Gannett, Gatehouse, to give you some examples.
And so when they make a statement, they say because you're a public figure, they can make an allegation. And I think we need to look carefully when we read news sources to see, is this an allegation and who are they saying made the allegation? If it says from anonymous people, I think we need to take that allegation with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And it does make it tough, because if you have an opponent and they're willing to do that, that is distracting from
Of course.
what you're doing.
And I'll even capitalize on that a little bit, because that's very important to know, is a lot of times when you're looking at the news sources, you need to know whether the source is legitimate or not. And one of the things in Colorado is candidates and elected officials are held to what they call a high level of scrutiny, which means they have the ability as a newspaper to say whatever they want about us. What might be something that you or they said about you would be slander or defamation. We don't have that same threshold, so it's really tough. And it gives them the ability to just say things without facts. Now, they can say that we presented facts, but then they can base it off of a baseless claim and say they heard it from a source or per a source that's confidential. So you don't even know who that person is. It's unfortunate because it happens, and it happens to a lot of us. So yes, please make sure you're paying attention, reading the articles, knowing where they're coming from. But one of the biggest problems that we run into too is when our own party, our own conservatives, start listening to that. That's where it hurts us, because we buy in to the nonsense that's out there. And I talk about it all the time. How could we progress as a party if we're going to buy into our own or have circular fire and take our own down? And we can't allow that, because it's a democratic cancel culture. And we start canceling each other out by saying, you're not pure enough, you're a rhino, or you're too far right, or you're grassroots. We're all Americans, we're all Republicans, and we need to push our values forward. Because if we're not winning, we're not legislating. And we have to fight to start legislating again.
Very good point to be made, because we are eating our own.
Yeah.
And that has been particularly disturbing to me this round of elections, and I don't think it's over with yet. Until November, the end of November, we will still be eating our own, and we've got to change that culture.
And so how would you say that we do that?
Yes.
I mean, how do we protect ourselves from now until November? You said, look at the source.
Yep.
What are key things that we should look for, and how do we say, I wonder.
Yep.
Can you address that to people if they do wonder and say, I heard this.
Yep.
What's true?
I always recommend going straight to the candidate. If it's a candidate, for example, there's somebody, whether the candidate reaches back out to you or someone in their team, they'll give you the facts. Go on their websites. Most candidates list the facts on their websites. Go on their Facebook. There's been baseless allegations about all of us right now running in CD3 as Republicans. Most candidates, like myself, I put it on Facebook, the facts, so this way you have an opportunity and easy access. Same thing on the websites. And I'll tell you what's even more unfortunate is there's like a newspaper or something that's being written by our state party officials or somebody along those lines. They call it Rhino Watch. And I bring that up for the simple fact that it makes you wonder, are these really conservatives that are writing this, or is this Democrats that have infiltrated our party? And I don't say that in the fact to be disparaging, because none of us know who the authors of it are. And they're saying contradicting things. If you look, they put me on what they call their Rhino wall. And when they did that, they cited an article that came from a Democrat newspaper source, the Denver Post. And then the next week, they wrote an article saying, don't trust the Denver Post, but they used the Denver Post to come after me. So it's really weird. Those kinds of things are important that we start paying attention to. And we start asking those questions like, who's writing them? Why are they doing it? And what's their purpose? Everything somebody does is for a reason. I truly believe right now that there are folks out there that want to see our party destroyed, and they want to destroy it from within. And we cannot allow that to happen, because if we don't win and we don't work together, then we're never going to legislate. We have to become Vince Lombardi Republicans, where winning isn't everything, it's the only thing.
And it's done in a way that's ethical.
Exactly.
So if you don't happen to win the primary, will you turn around and support whoever won and help them? Because I do think that you have good strategies for winning. You would be supportive of any of the candidates.
Oh, of course. And that's where we have to be at. There was an event that was held in, I think it was Montrose County, and that question came up to the slew of candidates. I wasn't invited to that meet and greet, but they had it, and there was a slew of CD3 candidates, and one of the candidates, Mr. Hanks, was asked, would you support whoever wins? And he said no, because he believes he's the only conservative. That kind of mentality doesn't help us out. If we want to start legislating, we have to coalesce and work together. If I'm saying that I'm going to run with you parallel as a conservative, and then you end up prevailing, I should start falling in line and making sure that we hold these seats, because there's always opportunities for us later. But so many of us get stuck in the fact that we want to be the man or the person or the woman when we can be that together. Because if our sole purpose is to serve our community, which these jobs are service, this shouldn't be the best job you've ever had, and this shouldn't be a career. It should be a true service to our country. And if it's a service to your country and you believe in those values and you served your country honorably, you understand that you're going to get behind the person who wins the primary.
I think just for, Dave out here, I don't know that he listened to the podcast. Can you go through and give us your priorities one more time so that people know what you're running on and what you hope to achieve?
No, of course. I'll tell you guys right now, before I move into that, Ruth, any other questions? Because I see you
Sorry.
looking. You were itching.
No.
To jump in.
I was waiting for Lisa to hit on all those points, and she did a good job. So,
Okay.
yes, please go ahead.
I feel bad for Ruth over here. She sat down.
I'm ready.
Well, I'll tell you guys, it's very important that we close the border, and it's very important that we protect our real way of life, and it's very important that we start winning and protecting our What's going on right now? We're a republic. We have to protect the republic. We are losing every single day our freedoms. And that's why the group of folks that are coming down to support me at the assembly are calling themselves the freedom fighters, because we are fighting for freedom, and that's what I represent. Ronald Reagan said it best. We are one generation away from losing our freedom, and we're living in that generation today. And if we cannot come together and understand how important it is to protect this seat, then we're lost. All hope is lost. But I don't believe that, because I believe you guys know as much as I do that if the border doesn't close, we're going to lose elections. It's an election integrity issue. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because as those folks come over here, they're going to vote, and they're going to vote the way people are telling them to vote. And we need to make sure that we're talking to them about values. Faith, family, country. That's what we're about. Less government, lower taxes, more individual freedoms. That is who we are as conservatives and Republicans. I used to be a Democrat. I was once convinced that the Democratic Party represented those values. Let me tell you something. One thing Democrats hate more than anything is a reformed Democrat. Look what they're doing to Donald Trump. Look what they did to Ronald Reagan. Remember what Ronald Reagan said best? He said, all news is good news, because they attacked him every chance they had. And I think it's really cool. I learned this recently, where they asked Ronald Reagan the question of, do you feel like you have some responsibility for, and I'm paraphrasing this, for the problems that are going on in government? And he looked at the guy and he said, yes, I do. I once too was a Democrat. And it's true. And I want you guys to know that. It's only us working together. And it's not about me. It's about every single one of us here at this table, the gentleman over there that's unaffiliated. It is not about me moving my priorities forward. It's about us moving our priorities forward. And if we're closing the podcast now, I want to leave you with these words. We can never surrender. And let me tell you something, freedom isn't free. And we have to start fighting for it. And we cannot be afraid, because fear is a reaction and courage is a decision. So I ask you guys to be courageous, stand with me, and let's win this election.
And I just want to ask, Dave, is there any question that you have for this candidate that would cause you to trust him more?
I guess I would like to know where you'd stand on just party unity, what your feelings on party unity. As far as somebody like, what was it, Rick Santorum, was that his name, the guy from New York who was corrupt to the core, of course, but we have such a slim majority in the House, and would you have voted to censure him and kick him out, or would you have said, we need every vote we can get so we can pass some of our own legislation, at least through the House? Where do you stand on that sort of thing?
That's an important question. It was asked to me yesterday as well, which I appreciate you asking that. So if you guys don't know, I traveled the district in these last 2 days. I went all the way down to the Ute Mountain Tribe, and then I was down in Durango. Now I'm back up here. But down in Durango, the question came up is, what do you think of all the infighting? With that slim majority, how do we get anything passed? Because we keep fighting each other. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. It's so important. You hear people all the time, and Democrats will confuse us and say you need to cross the aisle. We don't need to cross the aisle to the Democrats. What we need to do is cross the aisle to each other. We need to start working together. We need to find common causes, and we just need to say it's over with. We need leadership in D.C. We need a true leader that's willing to coalesce all of us together. Anybody on this that's watching this podcast played football, played baseball, played basketball. There's no individuals. There's no I in team, right? We all have to start working together and finding that. And as Republicans, we need to stop creating the cancel culture of I'm more pure than you or I'm more conservative than you. And we need to start saying, guys, we need to come together to protect this republic. That's what it's going to come down to. So I would fight to work together and protect it amongst my caucus. I'm not going to cross the aisle to the Democrats. I'm telling you guys why. Because this is what it looks like. Democrats say, come over here. And we go over there because we're principled. And guess what happens? We lose ourselves when we walk over to them. They need to start coming to us because we are the party of principle. And we need to start working together and showing those principles.
And I guess what Dave said is, and that's a tough question. If you know somebody is corrupt, do you say, even though we've got a slim majority, I have to let him go because of principles?
Of course.
It's a tough
We got to drain the
decision.
swamp no matter what. And I'm telling you, we keep hearing it from congressmen and women. They're going to go over there and drain the swamp, and then they become a swamp gator or the plug. And we can't have that happen anymore. We need people to go over there with ethics, morals, and values. And it's not blowing up the political system. It's actually going over there and cleaning up the system. It's removing the unelected bureaucrats. It's finding out where the problems are. And it's fighting against those problems and having morals, ethics, values, and integrity. That is what we are missing today in politics, is integrity. Because all we have is our word, and only we can give it away.
Very good. Last thing is, because I think a lot of people don't know how to find the candidates. What's the best sources to find information about you?
Of course.
Or about anybody, I
Oh,
guess.
yeah, no, definitely. You can look me up on Facebook, Stephen Varela for Colorado. You can also look up my website, which is StephenVarelaForColorado.com. And then you can also call me. I give my personal cell number to everybody. Even if the Democrat watches this, call me too, because guess what? You live in my district as well. 719-252-3170. Give me a call. Let's talk. Also, look me up on Facebook and the website. I appreciate it.
Okay. You've been listening to Mesa County Compass. This is the facts as we see them, the truth as we know it. You decide.
Thank you,
Steve.
Stephen.
Thank
Very
you,
much.
guys.